products coordinator for Farmgirl Flowers, and today I'm here to show you a couple denim DIYs to celebrate our collaboration with Levi's. So when Christina, who's the founder and CEO of Farmgirl Flowers, first started the company, she wrapped the bouquets in burlap. She got those from coffee roasters. There's a lot of those in the Bay Area, and it was a readily available material that was easy to upcycle. But Christina always wanted to wrap the bouquets in something else as well, and Levi's was at the top of the list of companies she'd want to collaborate on an alternate wrap. And now we've made the collaboration happen. Upcycling with a broader goal of sustainability is a core value at Farmgirl. With the burlap wraps, we're giving that material a second life in the form of a bouquet wrap that's also compostable. This denim from Levi's that we're wrapping the bouquets in is new, so we want to show you a way to upcycle it into a few items that might be useful around the home. Today I'm going to show you how to make some coasters, so you can enjoy some frosty beverages with your quarantine crew. You have the denim wrap, the piece of denim that came on your Farmgirl bouquet. We need some tools to measure out. We're going to make 5x5 squares, 5x5 inch squares. So I'm using a metal T-square, but you could also use just like a little wood ruler and a cutting mat. I need this because I'm working with a rotary cutter. It's like a sewer's tool, quilter's tool. But if you don't have that, like a rotary cutter, you can use some scissors and you can mark, the lines to cut on the back of your denim with a ruler and a pen, or a chalk, better yet, chalk is better. You can erase those lines later. I'm using a fabric stiffener. This will give the coasters a little bit of structure. The denim itself is kind of floppy. You could do it without the stiffener, but just like a little bit of structure the stiffener adds. And you'll need a paintbrush to apply that. And two more things. A seam ripper. That's to give the denim like a little distressed frayed edge. So if you don't have a seam ripper, you can use a safety pin. So it's a very small one. And you can, if you open it up, you can just use the pointy edge just like you would the tip of a seam ripper. One thing when you're cutting your squares or measuring to cut is you want to use the selvage edge of your piece of denim as a guiding line, like line your ruler or whatever straight edge you're just going to cut up against the selvage edge, this like frayed edge. And that will ensure that your squares are aligned with the way that the denim is woven, and that will make it much easier to do the next step, which is fraying the edges. That'll make it fray evenly, and it's just easier to get the threads out to give it that distressed look. Okay, so you'll take your denim wrap off your bouquet, and it measures approximately 17 inches by 23 inches. We're going to make 5 by 5 square inches, 5 by 5 inch squares. So we'll make about 12 of those, and we'll get started by measuring and then cutting out those 5 by 5 squares. I'm using a cutting mat and my T-square. The metal T-square is helpful for me with the rotary cutter because it's sharp. I can go right against the edge of the metal ruler because it won't be cut by the rotary. So I'm just first cutting my piece of fabric into 5-inch wide strips. And then after I make the strips, I'm going to turn them into squares. If you don't have a rotary cutter and a cutting mat at home, you could ask a seamstress, at-home seamstress, or a quilter. These are common tools that someone who's into sewing things at home would have. Probably has to borrow them for the afternoon. You could give them some coasters to say thank you. So we're turning those 5-inch strips into 5-inch squares now. The next step is to fray the edges. So this is when you'll need your seam ripper or safety pin. I think it's easier to work on the lighter side of the denim. You can see the threads that you're going to pull out a little bit easier. You use the pointy tip of the seam ripper to grab a thread and pull it out. And that just frees up the fringe. That's like a cute, looks like a little edge of a rug. Like a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch is a good amount. Probably wouldn't want to do too much more because you lose a lot of coaster real estate, but you know, you can have fun with it. Grabbing a little thread at once. If you pull out multiples at once, it's hard to get them out. But if you go kind of 1 or 2 at a time max, they just remove a lot easier. You could make a variety pack of coasters. You could just remove fringe on 2 sides for some of them, and some of them you could remove fringe on all sides. And because of the 2 sides of the fabric, you know, you could do contrasting fringe with the right side up, like blue on blue, or that'd be same. Contrasting white on blue or blue on blue for same. If we do all 4, you get a little bit of both, and it's really just about what feels good to you. So there you have the fringe, and that's about a 1/4 inch. So that's pretty good. You'll just go around and do that on, you know, the opposite side if you just want to do 2, or all 4 sides for something even. And then the next step, if you'd like to, is to apply the fabric stiffener. Again, it's not necessary, but it does lend the coaster a little bit of structure. So you can see this is one that we've applied some stiffener to earlier, and this is the piece of denim that comes the way, you know, it ships to you with your bouquet. So if you want that little bit of extra structure and also some moisture resistance, you'll go ahead and apply some of the fabric stiffener on the side of the coaster that you want to be against the tabletop or whatever surface you're trying to protect. I think I want this one to be dark side up, so I'm going to apply the stiffener to the lighter side of the denim. So just apply a good amount to the wrong side. You can kind of see that, like you spilled milk. And then use your paintbrush to apply. And this will sort of act as spray stop too. So you want to get it pretty close to the edges, to the intact fabric, right up to the edge of the fringe that you created. And I would recommend probably doing this on a piece of junk paper or a paper bag, so you don't get it on your cutting mat. And once it's applied, you can see it's starting to happen already, but it does tend to curl while it dries. So this one is the coaster I painted just a moment ago, and you can see it really starting to curl. Don't stress out too much about that. It still has some flexibility, and once it's dry, if you put it on a flat surface and put some weight on top of it, it'll flatten out in no time. Never gonna be like perfectly flat, but close enough. And so, you know, the top side that you're gonna use for your drinks is nice and soft, and then the bottom side has some texture for protecting and staying put on your surface. That's it.